It's right over there.
You have to pull him in very shortly, though.
Absolutely.
30 seconds here.
A few people listened to you in New Hampshire and said you were the candidate that understood boys' issues better than any other candidate.
I'm so glad.
He was very impressed. Can you share a little bit with me about what your passion is for the issues of boys?
Well, so I have 2 young boys myself, and I think that for whatever reason our culture is ignoring the fact that we have so many young men in particular who feel like they're getting pushed to the sidelines in schools aren't designed for them, and they get in the workforce that the workforce doesn't have a place for them, and then for whatever reason it's all being blamed on the individual when really we have a systemic transformation of our economy. And schools that don't really meet the needs of a lot of boys in particular because they emphasize conformity and rigidity. And at that age, like a lot of boys, aren't really well designed for that in the same way that young girls are, frankly. And so we need to start addressing these issues from the ground up. Hey, how are you? And it starts, to me it's beyond our schools at this point because there's so many young men, almost 1 out of 5 prime working age American men is out of the workforce.
Yes.
And again, it all gets laid at their feet like it's all their fault. But in my mind, it's structural.
Yes.
And it's giving rise to all of these dysfunctions in families, in communities. There are a lot of men that feel like they're not going to ever get married, have a family, have a stable career, and everything else. And for whatever reason, we're ignoring what strikes me as a real crisis.
I totally agree with you. One of the things that I did 14 years of research on this and looking at the various causes, and one of the things I found to be the prime cause is dad deprivation, where boys do not have dads.
40% of kids are born to single parents today, and in 90% of those cases, it's a single mom.
I really got to pull
So if you're a single boy, if you're a little boy growing up with a single mom, your mom's generally working, you don't have enough time, and then you don't have strong male role models, and it's like a cascading effect.
You're absolutely right.
Thank you.
You really get it. Thank you.
Great. All right, I'm pulling.
James read my book on a vacation in the Cayman Islands.
Yes.
Got so upset about what he found out about the boy crisis, he volunteered to start the first government entity in the United States looking at boys and men's issues, which is the Staten Island Council on Boys and Men's Issues.
Yeah.
And he said he wanted to talk with you about making this a significant issue in the campaign.
This is a guy that when he reads a book, he gets deep into it.
He really does, and he doesn't just read skim. He really gets into it. He saw the father's issues, the issues of about 92% of our mass shooters have not had dad involvement.
Oh, wow.
Which you probably instinctively know.
Yeah.
And the prisoners, while there's a 93% male prison population, that 90 some odd percent of them do not have fathers. And our ISIS recruits, the same statistic, 90 plus percent. So the approximately $1 trillion that I calculated would be saved by getting a White House Council on Boys and Men, and then getting having that White House Council on Boys and Men begin to work on getting father warriors trained to be warriors, trained to do communication, that type of thing.
That's powerful, man. I'm very happy I met you, and you're doing something really important here.
Thank you. Do you have any thoughts about your own? I mean, you've had so much experience in these issues, and so I don't want to just roll.
No, we should think about it and do it properly. But I appreciate the work you're doing, and we are focusing across the board, including on role model issues like ensuring there are men of color in the teaching profession.
Yes.
It's one of the crucial needs. We've had an initiative to do that, and we think that's going to make a huge difference. But I think you're onto something powerful, and Charlene is focused on issues of mental health. And we also
wonderful.
think a lot of our young boys.
Yes.
And
we have a whole Brothers Thrive group that does conversations around the city. They will create safe spaces for men to actually talk about these issues that they never get to talk about, and connect them to healing if necessary. It's amazing how hungry men are for this. I thought I'd have a tough time recruiting them to the movement.
Once they see it as there's permission for it, it's the masks that every male wears, and once the mask is taken off and they see each other's vulnerability, they feel so like I don't have to shoot somebody else to get attention. I can get attention from
and they have community.
Yes, exactly.
To be able to do that in the company of other men. It's very powerful. And our clergy has been very helpful with that.
Who has been?
Our clergy.
Oh,
Clergy
yes,
leaders
yes.
have been very helpful.
Yes, I spoke at the Brooklyn Baptist Church, and there was 28 guys there. They had all been in men's groups, but they all said if it wasn't for Christ, that I would be still doing what I was doing that got me in prison. 28 of these guys, all in prison, and all said that.
Thank you for what you're doing, brother.
You're very welcome.
And thank you very much. Admire your work. Is this an extra?
Yes, this is for you.
All right.
For you.
We can't do gaggles in these hallways.
Do you have any thoughts about getting fathers involved more in the family? Because what I've found is that in the 56 countries where boys are falling behind girls, the common denominator is the dad deprivation that seems to be happening in those countries.
Yeah, here's a big step that we could take in the right direction. Right now, we lock up more people, including more dads, than any other country on the face of the planet. 2.3 million behind bars right now, as we're enjoying our freedom on this beautiful day, disproportionately comprised of people of color. Not only are we locking up that person's potential, not only are we locking them up very often for possession of marijuana, a substance that's legal in most states in the country, but we're locking up their opportunity to raise their family and provide a role model for their sons and daughters. So ending the schoolhouse to jailhouse pipeline, ending the war on drugs that has become a war on people, ending the prohibition on marijuana, and expunging the arrest records for those caught for possession of something that is legal in most of the country is a great step to take in the right direction. And then investing in families, paid family leave, universal guaranteed high quality health care, access to higher education, that's going to produce a return that we can measure in terms of economic growth and tax receipts, but it's also going to produce a return in terms of the integrity of the American family and the ability for more fathers to have a chance to raise their daughters and importantly to your question, their sons. Yeah, thank you.
Senator, can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
So I'm just here as a mom. I know you're the parent of 3 children.
Yes.
And I have a teenage boy. And I'm just hoping I've got the information of your team that I could maybe we could reach out later, because the reason I'm here in Iowa is because I do not want to see the religious right take over this issue of caring about what's happening to boys. I'm a staunch feminist and a Democrat, as is Warren, and we just are noticing from the research that boys are starting to have certain gender-specific issues, and I'm hoping that you might be willing to look at this in your campaign to reach out to you guys later.
Absolutely, and that's why we campaign in this way and why we're showing up everywhere and listening to everyone, because the fact that you're raising this issue makes it an issue of focus for me going forward. And much in the same way that you just shared with me your book, I want to make sure that I'm going to the subject matter experts on